Let's go. Keep that momentum.
Hello, and welcome to James, the Less Express Lane, where we get you in and out as fast as possible with... Yes, the end of the stream was him just sitting there, staring at chat. Waiting for more money. Womp womp, didn't get it. But, sounds like it's any different from the middle of the stream, right? Let's watch.
Okay. Okay, let's go. In fact, can we get one contribution right now of anything? Can we get one membership, a sub on Kick, a super chat, or a tip? Anything before I begin. That way we can at least say I got some support when playing Mafia. Let's get one support right now, and then I'll finish the game. Let's go.
Now, mind you, he actually did beat the game, finally.
Oh, not the moral support. Get that. Forget the moral support.
Only money counts as support, guys. Only money, not thumbs up, not talking to my chat, not sharing out to other people. Nope, just money. Yeah, this is absolutely fucking pathetic. Congratulations, DSP. You beat the game. Speaking of beating the game, let's go check out his so-called review of it. One thing I'm loving is he left the bar go. Why is this going on for your review? Guys, look at all this money I got. It wasn't enough though, but look at the money. But it wasn't enough. Also, it's 20 minutes. Let's watch.
What is going on, everyone? I'm DSP, and I just finished my playthrough of Mafia: The Old Country here on my channel, DSP Gaming. What I like to do is give you my opinions on the game, what I liked, what I didn't like, dispel some rumors and some things that the gaming community is saying about this game, because I do feel like, sadly, in the modern day, gamers are not the same as they were back even when I started being a YouTuber, 17 plus years ago. And people are looking for different things in games, but that doesn't necessarily mean
Mind you, he beat it about a week after everyone else did. So this review is about a week late.
the game is good or bad based on that. I want to give you my honest take here, okay? So, FYI, my playthrough of Mafia: The Old Country clocked in at just around between 13 to 14 hours long. The playthrough was 11 parts, but a lot of my parts were between an hour to an hour and a half long, so it's probably going to clock in around 13 to 14 hours when you add it all up. Now, that includes the entirety of the story.
Does that include all the times you stopped and started to beg? That's what I thought.
And a tiny bit of side content. Now, when I say that, what do I mean? Because everyone says, well, Mafia: The Old World has no side content. Excuse me, The Old Country. All you do is use story, correct? It's supposed to be a throwback to the original Mafia 1 and 2, which also had pretty much no side content. You just drove from place to place doing narrative-based missions as if you just did story in GTA, but nothing else. Well, there is a little bit of side content in Mafia: The Old Country. What is it? Collecting. And what I mean by that is there are collectibles in the game, such as saint cards that each one outlines a different saint in the Christian or Catholic religion. There's also beads that you can find in the environment. And these beads allow you to equip them and give you power-ups during the game. So, for example, your gun's more accurate. It takes less time for your gun's targeting to focus in and become the accurate shot. Your bullets will do more damage, hold more ammo of a certain type, and so on and so forth. So you can find those in the open world of the game. Some of them are right along with story missions, but others are hidden in the environments.
So guys, I actually had to play the game to find stuff. It's bullshit.
There's also these hidden items. I'm not even sure what they're supposed to be. They look like triangle-shaped medallions, and when you get them, you basically sell them later on for 100 currency each. So there are a few different kinds of collectibles. There's also collectibles that don't really do anything. For example, you can find a newspaper article that talks about something that actually happened in Italy in real life back in the day, or you can find a newspaper article that applies to your story, like things you've done in the story. Now, what purpose do those serve? Absolutely nothing. You get nothing for them. You're just collecting for the sake of collecting, okay? That's the side content of Mafia: The Old Country. There's no actual side quests, no missions, nothing else to do but the main story. The thing is, you only really get 2 or 3 opportunities during the course of the game to actually explore the game. Since the game starts all the way to the end, you're almost always in a narrative-based mission, and you are stuck in the confines of that mission. 2 or 3.
And yet, when it's an open world game, guys, I just want to do the story. I don't want to do 20 hours of side content. I just want to play the game. Now that you just sit there and play the game, guys, there's the side content.
3 times you're given a car or a horse, and you're able to ride around or drive around this open world, and that's great, and it actually shows you on the map where the collectibles are, but it's not really necessary whatsoever to do anything in this game. You can easily just coast through the story of this game without ever buying any upgrades, without doing any of the bead searching or anything like that. You can just play through it pretty easily, okay? So gameplay-wise, what can you expect in Mafia, the old country? It's third person, it's cover-based, and there's really two kinds of gameplay, stealth and shooting. Stealth, surprisingly enough, is incredibly similar to games such as Hitman, Assassin's Creed, and Uncharted, where you're going to be sneaking around enemies as they're kind of in the environment looking for you. And you have, I'm not kidding you, Italian sense. I called it Sicilian sense during the game, where you can press up on your D-pad and you can see the enemies
Yes, guys, it's Italian sense where you can actually see the enemies.
through walls. I have no idea why the main character of this game, Enzo, can see through walls. It doesn't seem to make any sense at all. There's never given an explanation. You just can't. So you're not Batman, you're not The Witcher, but you can see through walls. I guess all Sicilians, purebloods, have this ability. I personally am only a quarter Italian, so I can only see pasta through walls. Like I can see a
Guys, I'm Italian. I'm half Italian. Now I'm a quarter Italian. And what's the other 3/4? Oh, that's right, Polish.
plate of spaghetti or rigatoni in the next room, but that's it. I can't see people. Enzo apparently can see everyone. Pretty interesting. So anyway, you're trying to sneak around and take out people with stealth. You have a knife. Now, the knife itself has a durability meter. Depending on which knife you're using during the course of the game, you can basically do a certain amount of takedowns, and you can also use that knife to lockpick boxes and get additional currency and items as long as your durability is up. Now, once it runs out, you can't use a knife anymore. So now you can't fight anybody, okay? There is a silent takedown that you can do without the knife, but that requires you to hold the button and tap repeatedly, which takes a lot more time than just stabbing them. So ideally, you want to be using the knife, but if you're okay with the stealth takedowns, then you can tap the button as well. You can find whetstones in the environment that allow you to sharpen the knife, and then you can use it again to full durability and do more takedowns and assassinations or open more boxes. So that's the stealth gameplay. You're going to be doing things to cause distractions, like throwing a bottle, throwing a coin. That'll send an enemy in another way, or you can sneak up behind the enemy and take them out. Yes, you can even hide bodies just like Hitman in this game. There's conveniently placed boxes and trunks around where you can toss a body to get it out of sight of the other enemies that are sneaking around so that you can get by undetected. If you get detected, then sadly, you're going to have to engage into the full-on gunplay of the game. I would say that the gunplay is incredibly similar to Uncharted, or maybe even Tomb Raider, cover-based, popping out of cover, aiming, waiting for your targeting to center, then firing, getting back behind cover, popping out again, doing it again. I would actually say that the gunplay is the most challenging thing about the game. Why? Because I played it on normal difficulty, and enemies shot you for significant
And also, you're not wearing your glasses. You don't see anything. Your aiming is just god fucking awful.
damage. Like, you have a health bar that's around 4 or 5 chunks of health. I think it's 5. But when you get shot in this game, you usually lose 2 to 3 chunks of health with one shot. So you can only take maybe 2 shots maximum before you're forced to heal yourself, or you're dead. And then you got to replay from a checkpoint. Healing items aren't very plentiful, but after you kill an enemy, you can loot them.
So, instead of being a bullet sponge like in Call of Duty, you actually gotta, be careful. No wonder DSP didn't like the game.
And if you loot them, you will then actually start to find ammo and healing items, and that'll help out in combat. Guns, you get a handgun, a rifle, shotgun. Either rifle or shotgun, you have to pick between one of the 2 classes. And there's some throwables like grenades. So again, a la Uncharted, right? There's no gun in this game with a scope. You can never zoom in. You're always just doing cover-based, popping out, wait for the targeting to narrow, fire, go back behind cover. That's the entirety of the combat of the game. There's no significant melee combat whatsoever. It's really just takedowns with the knife or shooting people. So that's the vast majority of the gameplay of the game. Now, there are 2 other kinds of gameplay in Mafia: The Old Country. One is driving, and one is knife duels. Driving. Quite honestly, I think that this game had more content to it because it seems like
He was so bad at the driving. This is how you don't play, is going to be at least an hour of all of his wrecks trying to drive the car and wrecking. You know what? Might be a good thing he doesn't drive that often and all that, because if he's on the road, everyone else is in danger. Just saying.
the driving is so lackluster, not fleshed out, and not much to it. But then there's an entire stage where you have to drive in a race. Doesn't seem to make sense. It's like, in fact, the driving is so like taking a backseat. Every time you get into a car for a story mission, it actually asks you, do you want to skip? And you can just skip. You can literally skip all the driving in the game by just holding the D-pad, which is really weird. The thing is, a lot of the times you want to at least do some driving because there's dialogue that happens in the car. You know, a la GTA, where sometimes you're driving around the city and the characters talk and it fleshes out the plot. Well, that actually happens in Mafia: The Old Country as well. So you probably don't want to always skip the dialogue. So you probably don't always want to skip the drive. But the driving is so basic. You're just basically trying to drive these old-timey cars around the countryside, and they barely drive. I mean, their handling is terrible. You can't really make turns at any kind of speed. You just start fishtailing and you can't.
Your handling is terrible. You can't drive for shit. You're just so fucking bad at everything.
Can't control the car. The thing that's actually annoying is there is a racing stage. And like I said, it feels like the game should have had maybe a gradual upgrade system where you get better at driving, but instead you just have to do a race and they throw you to the wolves. Figure it out. Now, there are checkpoints during the race, but man, it's actually very challenging to get through this race because it doesn't feel like the driving is fully finished. The other gameplay is knife fights. Knife fights do happen at story intervals during the game. Basically, you have to fight another character in a knife duel. And it's kind of rock, paper, scissors. There's a parry where you can counter a standard stab. There's a dodge where you can counter an uncounterable stab. And then there's a guard break, which is heavy attack. So if the enemy's just standing there blocking, you can break through their block. Now there's also a standard slash, which you can do a couple times for a combo. And then there's a thrust, which you can do if the enemy's a little bit more at a distance. Maybe basically you parry them and they step back, then you can go up and like run up and stab them with a thrusting attack. It's not that difficult. Honestly, most of these fights, I wasn't paying attention that much. As long as you just
He wasn't paying attention because he's too busy looking for money.
pay attention to when they're doing an unblockable, which has like this flash on the screen so you can just dodge it. Outside of that, you can mash buttons a lot and get away with it. There's a lot of times they were doing an attack and I just interrupted it with my own attack. Not that difficult. I'd say at the very end of the game, there's 2 story-based duels that are a little bit harder, but for the most part, it's pretty simple. It's not a big complex thing. The only thing that will ever make you slightly better at a duel is that you can get a bead later on in the game that you can equip that actually makes the duels easier. And then also there's knives that you can purchase in the game. As you play the game, you're going to find currency by looting people, or like I said, by selling those medallions. And as you get this currency, you can buy some better guns and a better knife. And the knife can basically have like upgrades to its durability, so you can use it more before you have to use the whetstone. But some of the knives just say right outright, oh, they're better in a duel, you know? So that'll help you. But outside of that, that's literally it. So there's stealth, there's third-person shooting, there's driving, there's knives, and there's every once in a while collecting stuff in the environment. That's all you do in Mafia the Old Country. Now, before you say, well, wow, that sounds like a really boring game, why would I want it? The game's story is where it shines. This game, much like the original Mafia games back in the day, is heavily focused on narrative. And what I will tell you is this. The graphics of this game, at least on PC, because I played the PC version of the game, are outstanding. The environments are beautiful. Driving through the Italian countryside is gorgeous. The lighting, the attention to detail as you're going around, you're seeing petals falling, trees are moving. The NPCs
Guys, the only thing that really matters is the graphics, guys. Who cares about anything else? The graphics, it's so shiny.
in this game are extra special. What do I mean by that? Most games these days, you go into an environment with a whole bunch of NPCs, in a town or a city. They all look like crap, right? But you're not supposed to focus on them. You're only supposed to be focusing on the protagonist characters in the foreground. Why are you looking at the background or whatever? In this game, everything looks gorgeous. Like every environment, every part looks good. And I think the reason is because it's a short narrative-based game. If this game was 20, 30, 40 hours of grindy open world content, the game devs would have had to focus on all of that and not had the time to focus on the little attention to detail. This game has a lot of detail. So if you want to be immersed and really feel like you're in Italy back in the early 1900s, this game nails it. That being said, for the majority of the time that you're playing this 13 to 14 hour game, you'll be in a story mission, just going on rails, doing what the game is telling you to do. And if you fail or veer from it at any point, it'll say, oh, you failed the mission, and then just load you back at a checkpoint.
I never failed the mission. Yeah, we know.
Expect variety. Don't expect anything that breaks the mold. It's just a story to be told. Now, admittedly, you might say, well, then why is it even a game? It's a good point. Then again, take a look back at the olden days of gaming 15 years ago. There was a lot of games like this. In fact, notably, Mafia 1 and 2 were both like this, where they were 10 to 15 hour experiences. All you did was basic gameplay elements on rails and enjoyed the story. And both Mafia 1 and 2 were very enjoyable experiences. Mafia 3 veered from that formula. Mafia 3 had an open world with an incredible amount of content in it, but all the content was empty. Do you want to do a base takeover or fight this group of criminals or do this kind of looting or whatever it is? And the game required you to do it in order to unlock story missions. It was insanely boring. It was incredibly time consuming. It was a waste of the gamer's time. And I highly criticized it back then when the game came out during my review that the game would have been better without it. Why couldn't it just be narrative based like Mafia 1 and 2? The problem is, we're now 10 years later. And in 2025, it seems like the vast majority of gamers have just been conditioned to expect at a minimum of 20 hours of gameplay, if not more, and that you're going to have side content to do. This game doesn't have it. So a lot of people right now who are playing Mafia the Old Country are just slamming it and saying, oh, no, there's not enough content. There's not enough going on. It's boring. My viewers on my streams when I was playing this game said similar. Are you still in story? You're still in a story, bitch. Like, what are you doing? That's the game. Like, that's the point. They wanted to go back to their roots because people complained about Mafia 3, and they did, but it seems like a lot of people have forgotten that a game without an insane amount of side content can still be good. The game does respect your time. It doesn't send you on any wild goose chases, boring repetitive quests. Instead, just enjoy this fun narrative. Now, how is the narrative? It's good. Is it the best I've ever seen? No. Basically, if you like Mafia movies, if you like Mafia TV shows, if you like previous Mafia video games, you're going to like Mafia the Old Country. It's the story of an up-and-comer, how he becomes part of
You think a real Italian would be all about it, guys.
the mob, how he gets into trouble, and how his story ends. Now, I'll say this. A lot of people during the course of the game were saying, does this tie to the other Mafia games? Yes and no. There's a couple characters in this game who do appear in the other Mafia games, but there's never a direct correlation. Nothing you ever really do in Mafia the Old Country determines something that happened in another one of the Mafia games, and the story of the main characters does not tie into the other Mafia games. So it never really feels like, oh, it's a prequel, so if I do something wrong, well, it doesn't make sense because this happened in a future game. No, like, that doesn't happen. So really, you'll be guessing the entire game. What's going to happen next? Who's going to get whacked? What's going to go on? Because none of this really will tie into the other games you've already played and the other stories that you already experienced. So, is it a good story? It's pretty good. I'll be honest, I do think there was a couple minor missteps during the course of the game. Number one, I'll say that I do feel like the ending was a little underwhelming for me. I was hoping for a slightly better ending. It was just,
Yeah, the better ending being you getting more money.
okay. I wasn't angry, but I also wasn't like, wow, that was a great ending. It was just like, it was all right. Okay? The only other thing that I'll criticize, and I do think that this is the case,
Take it seriously, the asshole.
I do believe that this game originally was being designed to be an open world Mafia game, much like Mafia 3. And then at some point during development, I think they changed it. Okay, I don't know what would have caused that or whatever. Maybe the budget got cut, the development
You could always Google it to find out before you do your review, jackass.
time got cut. All these companies now these days, especially game development companies, priorities are constantly shifting around. 2K Games very well could have come down halfway through development and been like, "You're done, finish it." And like, "Oh, well, good, we finished the story, but we don't have any side content. That's fine. We'll just sell it as a discounted game." Mafia: The Old Country retails for $49.99 USD. It's not a full-fledged retail game. It's discounted by $20 because the game developers knew this was not a game that was going to be lengthy. Now, is that okay? I would say never during my game playthrough did I feel like the game was disappointing in that regard. But I will say this: there's entire
So yes, he spent $50, but guys, only got $100 during one of the streams, so the game's a failure.
environments you only go through once ever, and there's no reason to ever return. There's only one firefight. That's it? There's only one firefight in this area? Then why does it even exist? Right? It's pretty crazy. There's a big map in Italy, open world, and there's nothing in it. It's empty. You go there once, you fight, and then when you go back, if you ever want to go back during the 2 or 3 times they let you drive, there's nothing there. There's no point to ever returning. Why does it even exist? So I do feel like this game was supposed to be a lengthier game with more content, and it changed at some point during development. But overall, I don't think it hinders the experience. It's incredibly cinematic. It's incredibly polished. It's incredibly entertaining if you like Mafia storylines. But you can't expect the world here. You can't expect that this game's going to be like the best game you've ever played. It's just kind of an enjoyable Mafia ride. So go into it with that expectation. If you go in with, "Oh, this better be 20, 30 hours of side content. This better be like mind-numbingly amazing, and I can't believe it," you're not going to get that kind of an experience. It's still fun. I'm happy that I played it. It's not like I feel like
What was that? Mind-numbingly? Great. What? Don't you mean mind exploding or mind blowing? Not mind numbing? Fuck. You're an idiot.
I got ripped off or anything because I paid $50 for 13 hours. Hey, I was able to wrap it up within a week and a half of me getting the game and having an enjoyable experience with my audience. I'm okay with that. I just think a lot of other gamers today won't be. Again, some of my audience, while I was playing it, were like, "Man, this game sucks. Look, you're just doing story. It's another cutscene. It's another cutscene." Yeah, games used to be like that. Games used to be heavily narrative focused until all of a sudden we were told, "No, this game must have 20 hours of grinding." Doesn't make it better. If it had 20 hours of meaningful grinding that made the game better, great. But we already saw that with Mafia 3 and it failed. So there you have it. So Mafia: The Old Country, a very beautiful, fun ride in the world of the mafioso back in the day in the 1900s Italy. If you like those kind of things, you're going to like it. Just understand that it's going to play like other games that you've played before, and it's going to be over sooner rather than later. If you're okay with that, check it out. If you're looking for a game with more, you're not going to get it here, and you're probably going to be disappointed. But for those of us who like Mafia storylines, it's fun. That's my take on Mafia: The Old Country. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.
Terrible. Absolute fucking worst. Nope, stop doing that. Anyways, he didn't even give a review, did he? Guys, if you want to do mafioso stuff, then yeah, get the game. Well, how about a rating? Or this part was 7 out of 10, this part was 4 out of 10, this part was 9 out of 10. Feels like he wanted to say like the graphics were 10 out of 10. Storyline, maybe he would have given it an 8 out of 10. Who knows, because he didn't really give us a review. DSP, what the fuck are you doing with this review? This may have been one of the worst reviews I've ever seen. Like, what the hell? I don't... DSP, this may have been one of the worst reviews I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of bad ones. My mind is absolutely fucking blown. But with that, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for watching. As always, like, subscribe, comment down below, and have one hell of a day.